Welcome to the Entrepreneurs Network of Michigan. My name is Ike Engelbaum. I'm the founder of the Entrepreneurs Network of Michigan, which is a group of motivated people that are all interested in helping each other achieve our personal and professional goals. And my purpose in doing this show is so that I can interview entrepreneurs and people that help other people that want to become entrepreneurs and actually share with us practical tips on how you can be successful in business. And I like to talk to entrepreneurs who are willing to share with us their ideas, the good ones and the bad experiences, because as it has been jokingly said, you should learn from the mistakes of others because you'll never live long enough to make them all yourself. So hopefully at the end of this program we'll have you avoid some of the mistakes that you may have made, and hopefully we'll give you some tips on how you can grow your business. When we get back from our break, we're going to have Tom Raymond, who is actually going to be discussing parts of a workshop that he does through SCORE, and that's actually counselors for small business. And the tagline is for the life of your small business. And I like to think on how to make your small business grow bigger. And with me in studio, we're going to be talking to my nephew, Avery, and my niece, Kimberly. And you're going to find out all about their background or what their thoughts are. And we're going to be talking about not only some tips on planning your marketing strategies, but we're going to be talking a little bit about the psychology of marketing. And any business professional knows you can't do business without contracts. So my niece, Kimberly, is going to share with us 3 tips on what you better do if you want a contract that's not going to bite you. How's that? A contract that's not going to bite you, and I'm not going to tell you which part of the anatomy, okay? We'll be right back. Don't go away. And in case you didn't get it, Jim Henderson, the grand producer of the show, was singing along, 888-489-8980. Maybe that's what I'm missing, Jim. I have to have you sing the number. And, well, people always look for different reasons to be thankful. I am thankful some basic things in life, including the telephone. Guess what? Do you realize now, of course, we got all the fancy-dancy internet and what have you, but when all the dust settles, doing a radio show, you need somebody who gets on the telephone and communicates with us. And I've been fortunate enough over the years to speak to people all over the world. So thank goodness. I understand there's still a dispute whether Alexander Graham Bell was really the guy that started, but who cares, okay? I am glad it's here. And Tom Raymond is on the line. And for those of you who do not listen to me on Monday through Thursday, I'm on WNCXI 1160 AM. Tom's been sharing his thoughts on various areas, but the one that we are currently pursuing is branding, and also the importance of marketing and what you should know about it and all. And Tom Raymond is in business for himself now, and has been in several businesses. So you're getting advice through SCORE at no charge, part of the Small Business Administration affiliation. So we as citizens, and especially if you live in Oakland County and want to start or build a business, you got to talk to Tom Raymond. He's a guy that's been there, done that, and can tell you how best to proceed in whatever areas of business that you want to get started on. And if someone is interested in getting a hold of you, Tom, what phone number can they call?
They're more than capable of calling my cell phone, which is 248-342-9013. And if I don't pick up, it's because I'm either driving or I'm counseling. So leave me a message, and I will very happily get back to you. or you can email me at thomas.raymond@scorevolunteer.org.
Right, and we had a great meeting the other day right in your facility that you're there every Thursday, the Oakland County Business Center, Oakland County Executive Office Building. And you rightfully call it the one-stop shop for anybody wanting to start a business. You have all the resources there, maps and descriptions of areas that have competitors of the type of business you're considering. And it's at 2100 Pontiac Lake Road in Waterford. And we have our meetings 11:30 to 1:15. And if you can somehow get $5 together, you can join us on December the 10th. We're going to have our next meeting there. And Tom, you're going to be there, is that correct?
Yeah, and be happy to take you on a tour of the one-stop shop and our business library and some of the templates and tools that Oakland County has that are just fantastic for young entrepreneurs.
Right, well, I'm blessed in my family to have two vital areas covered for a business person. My nephew, Avery, is actually going to be soon a doctor, not medical, right, Mr. Avery?
Just the PhD kind.
The PhD, a FID, is that it?
FID, yes, that's the technical term.
I see. And you obviously need someone that's capable of getting involved with marketing, and my niece, Kimberly, is here, and yes, her profession is an attorney. Hello, Miss Kimberly.
Hello, Uncle Isaac.
Okay, all right. And Tom, just wondered, as far as the experience we had, you were saying that Costco checked in on our lunch meeting on the other day, and you had a thought in regards to them. Do you want to share that with us?
Well, back in the late 90s, 96 through 2000, my wife and I had a security and safety business in Troy. And I wondered to myself one day, where can I go and get in front of the largest number of people to talk about my products and services? And I went to Sam's Club in Southfield. And I spoke to the general manager, and I said I would like to come in and set up a little card table with my products and services on it. And I said, would you be amenable to that? And he said, yes. And I said, well, what can I do for you? He said, well, you could make a donation to Sam's Charity. So my wife and I started on a weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The first weekend we came away with over 500 leads.
Wow.
And I went into my office on Monday morning, turned it over to the gal that did my marketing, and she started making appointments. 2 weeks later, I went back to the general manager, and I said, this isn't working out. He said, well, gee, I can't understand why. You have a crowd of people over there. I said, it's working out great for me, but it isn't working out great for you. And he said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, I've learned a little bit about Sam's Club since I've been here. And yes, you make money on the products that you sell to your members, but you make more money on memberships. So I'll tell you what I'll do. For everyone that gets a security and safety system through my office, whether they be commercial or residential, I will buy their next year's Sam's Club membership. He said, you do that? And I said, absolutely. And I said, by the way, here's a check for the ones that we've installed already. And it was the greatest collaboration of organizations that I've enjoyed in my many years in business. And we were both very, very successful with this.
Right.
And so if you're out there and you're thinking about something like that, think out of the box and collaborate with a larger box store.
Right.
And tomorrow is Small Business Saturday. And I think Small Business Saturday should be every Saturday. Give the big boxes a chance, but on Saturdays, go shop your small businesses. And great things come in little boxes, too.
Right. Well, that's part of the reason we have our network meetings is so that we can share different thoughts. And one of my sponsors has that discount card, and it's promoting Michigan. It's called It's My Michigan. And for $20 a year, you get a credit card size card. And you actually can use that card in over 2,000 different businesses. So you talk about collaboration. What better way can you have that? You only pay $20 and you can save hundreds of dollars over the year and helping Michigan along. And isn't that really the key in marketing, is that do something for the next person. As I like to say, everybody always promotes WIIFM, what's in it for me? Well, my philosophy is it should be WIIFT, what's in it for them. Once you establish how you can help them, they more in turn, many times, and most people are decent, will give you more back than you give out. Right now,
Absolutely.
Right now I got to give out commercial. We'll be right back. Don't go away, folks. A lot more interesting stuff coming up. Don't go away. And we're back, and Tom Raymond is in somewhere in beautiful downtown, I guess, wherever it is. and I have my nephew Avery here in studio, and my niece Kimberly, and my wife Judy, and my daughter Edie, and my sister Karen. But just to show you how wonderful this country is with phones, I also have a fellow member of the Entrepreneurs Network, Manola Webster, who is a real entrepreneur's entrepreneur. Manola, apparently you've got one of your seminars tomorrow morning, is that correct?
Yes, Ike. One of my business partners, my econ, will be having a presentation to show people how to cut their taxes, eliminate debt, and increase their cash flow. And the meeting is going to start at 9 o'clock tomorrow at the Holiday Inn Express in Southfield on 21500 Northwestern Highway.
Right. And the beautiful part about the program you're involved with, and I'm really impressed, is that this is a way that people can really take personal control of via a program that they buy into, and assuming they buy into it, if they see that they're suddenly spending money that they shouldn't on taxes and what have you, it pinpoints where they could be saving money that they're needlessly wasting. And by the way, before we part, what phone number would you like to give out in case someone wants to join you tomorrow morning?
That would be area code 248-933-6615. Again, that's 248-933-6615.
And you'll probably get some great advice just by showing up. As they say, 90% of success is just showing up. So show up. They're going to show you how you can save money on your taxes. And by the way, Manola, have you thought about it? The IRS. If you combine those two, it says theirs.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I would like it to be ours, okay? I don't know. Great for you to call in and have a great day and enjoy the Thanksgiving weekend. Thanks so much.
Thanks. You too, Ike.
Okay. Mr. Tom Raymond, I wanted to have you listen to my nephew who is going to be a doctor of FID in marketing, and he has actually some tips in regards to the psychology of marketing. What is that all about, Mr. Avery?
Well, Isaac, it's a very deep field, but these are the three most practical things I've learned from the psychological side of marketing. So first is about persuasion, something you're very good at, of course. This is called construal level theory. Okay, and what that says is when you're trying to convince someone, the argument you use depends on how far away the event is. And that's both with distance and time. So that is, if I'm trying to convince someone to do something in a month, I'm going to talk to them in a different way from how I would try to get someone to do something tomorrow. So if it's tomorrow, and say you're trying to get someone to listen to the radio show, right?
Right.
You go to the practical concerns. It's like, hey, don't worry, it's at 11:30, it's a half an hour, and it's going to be very easy for you. If it's in a month, what you want to do is appeal to their values, right? You should try new things. You should help out and expand your mind, you know? So appeals to values work to things that are far in the future, and appeals to convenience work to things that are close.
Wow, that's a great one, isn't it, Tom?
That is great advice, and I really I would really like to have the opportunity to meet Avery and Kimberly, and I invite them over to the one-stop shop in Oakland County at the Oakland County Business Center, or I put my office in downtown Pontiac.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. We'll have to work that out somehow.
Until Sunday.
And do you have any other tips? That was great.
So the second is just about how people perceive experiences, and this is called peak end theory. And what it says is that people perceive the experience based on the average of how it was at its best or worst and how it is at the end. And what that says is, say you have a medical procedure and it's somewhat painful, right? Don't end on the most painful note, right? Even if you just leave the patient alone for 5 minutes, they perceive it as better even if it takes more of their time, right?
Wow.
So never end on a bad note, always end strong, and that's been sort of psychologically confirmed.
Right, and show business, isn't that line, always leave them wanting more?
Leave them wanting more, right? And don't leave them wanting to leave.
That's the worser, right? And I speak a good English. That's great. And what about number 3?
And number 3 is about, it's called licensing. So humans have sort of a mental checkbook. That is, when they do something good, they want to balance it out with something bad. So say you go to Subway sandwich shop, you get yourself a healthy sub, you might get yourself the cookies afterwards to sort of reward yourself. So sometimes that can increase your profits. If you're Subway, you want people to buy the cookies. But if you're just selling only healthy services, you want to sort of stop that behavior because you want them to buy 2 healthy services from you, right? So the way you do that is you close each transaction separately, okay? So you sell one healthy service, you close that transaction, you give them a bill, then you sell them the second one. And then you can get away from this sort of checkbook effect where people are trying to balance their good and bad behavior.
Wow, right. Well, that's how the cookie crumbles. Is that appropriate? I don't know.
That's appropriate.
And Kimberly, with your legalese mind, and Tom and I have talked about the importance of having a business plan and a marketing plan and having it written out, and that's part of what Tom does, is he assists people on how to put their thoughts in writing. Obviously, you get started and you want to sign a contract. What are some tips that you've come across that are helpful to somebody in business as far as contracts?
Sure thing. Well, I always kind of see the end of the contract when things kind of didn't go so well and people are coming from a dispute end. So that's where I come from is my warning. And a lot of the time you look at a contract and you see the things that people could have done differently from the beginning. Well, so I warned my uncle from the beginning, no lawyer talks without a legal disclaimer. So nothing that I say here is intended to be or is legal advice. If you have a legal problem, you should talk to a lawyer directly. But for general information, one thing is, when you're setting up a relationship and you're putting your contract down on paper, it's not enough for you to understand what it says. And it's not even enough for the other person to understand what it says. You got to think about a third party who's coming in and reading it. Are they going to know what you meant by all the words in your agreement? Because if anything ever happens, it's going to be a judge or a lawyer who's looking at the agreement at the end of the day, and they have to understand what the intentions of the people who signed it was. So if you're dealing with something technical, or if you have a long relationship and you think you know what your agreement is, you got to just try to spell it out as much as possible, and imagine just handing your contract to a person on the street. Are they going to understand it?
Right. Well, this goes counter to advice I've always thought about. It's great advice. They always say it takes 2 to tango. When it comes to a contract, it takes 3. Otherwise, you're going to be out of the dance. Okay?
Otherwise, the music will stop.
Or someone's going to step on your toes, right? And it's going to cost you more money, too, right? Any other thought you want to share?
Well, the second thing I would say is, at the time when you're setting up the agreement, and that's an exciting time for everyone, you have a partnership moving forward and you're looking forward to to the relationship that you have, it's still a good idea to try to make plans for if things don't work out. And this happens a lot, especially in small businesses. No one ever wants to think about what might happen if things just don't work out. So think about yourself down the road if you wanted to end the relationship in an amicable way. The best way to do that is to provide for it from the beginning. And that's not a sign that you don't have faith in each other, and it's not a sign that you don't think things are going to work out. It's just planning for the future.
Right. Well, it's so important. It's like an exit plan, right?
Exactly.
And, I can't help but think part of the safety rules, and the fact that Tom was involved in security and has got degrees in the area, that a building cannot be licensed unless they have exit signs, right? So you are not a building, but you better have that exit sign. And do you have another thought to share?
Yeah, my last thought will be this. If anything, if the relationship does turn out to not work out, just try to keep it to the level of business and don't let it get too personal. At the end of the day, you're talking dollars and cents and not relationships. And sometimes people can save a whole lot of time and hassle and aggravation by just walking away from it and remembering that sometimes, it's better to pay into whatever the relationship was than to pay a lawyer for years down the road.
Right. Well, talk about sense. It takes common sense. And one of the greatest tips I ever heard is when it comes to business, don't ever fall in love with anything that can't love you back, okay? So the truth is that, hey, it's a contract, it's a relationship. It didn't work out, it's money. And if you're going to use, in all due respect to the legalese, if you're going to end up spending more money than you possibly could recoup, even if you win. And another disaster, and I unfortunately have had it happen to me, and that is that you sue, and then you win the lawsuit, but the person you're suing doesn't have any money, okay? So what's the point of it? So make darn sure that if you're going to proceed in that area, that if you do win, that you're going to be reimbursed. Tom, we took quite a bit of time away from you, but is there any thoughts that you picked up in what my talented niece and nephew have shared with us?
Well, going to Avery, we do something called GIS map psychographics, and to help business owners find who their ideal customer is and where they can find them. And in Kimberly's case, she really stressed a very, very important point. If you're writing a business plan, which you need to have, because that's your navigational tool to run your business, and it's also the tool that can get you funding for your business, you must have a good, solid succession plan in your business. And you also have to have, as part of that, a good exit strategy. And that will keep you out of the courts expeditiously if you have that in writing in your business plan, so everybody understands what the system is. And if you're not there, God forbid you die, and you have a good solid succession plan and a good solid exit strategy, your business can carry on in a very, very good manner and for growth for those people who are left behind with your business. Great advice from both of you.
Thank you. Actually, when you analyze it, they say all good things have to come to an end. And a lot of times in the giddiness and excitement of starting a business, you don't even think about the negative part of it. But, it's interesting, and maybe this eventually will be part of the way a person gets started in the business. We all know about the importance that you got to get your name licensed and all the other licenses. There should be some sort of a document, in my opinion, that you fill in what's going to happen, let's say, down the line. And there's a principle that I think SCORE has in one of their workshops about the sunset law. rule, which means that when you enter into a business relationship, or since we're talking marketing, go into marketing with a sunset law principle, which identifies that, hey, I'm going to try this new approach to market my service, but I'm going to try it for, let's say, 6 months or a year. But at the end of that year, the party's over. It works, and how can you make it better? Then do it. But if you don't have a goal and you say, well, I'm going to keep trying this, and then how many times, Tom, have you had people come in to your office, I'm sure, and they're frustrated with what they're doing, and they really are sort of floundering around, doing the same thing they did before? Is that an occurrence that comes up quite often? Or
It certainly does, and it's the definition of insanity. Keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results.
Right, exactly.
And so you have to be able to change. Your business plan is a living, breathing document, so it's going to have revisions, and that's important because that keeps it timely. And as I'm sure Kimberly has found out, common sense sometimes isn't very common, is it?
Oh, right.
Say that again. Yeah.
No, that's the sad part about it. But the truth is that if you want to make dollars, you do have to have sense. But it's got to be in a way that you build on something that's going well. And Avery, I just wondered, as far as is there such a thing that if you're trying a new marketing idea, is there some sort of a time structure? Is that built into the program? How do you work it?
Well, it depends on the sort of project that you're doing. But to your point, I always say the most important thing before undertaking marketing research, and that could be sort of an experimental approach where you're actually implementing it, is write out what success is before you start. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Say if you're doing a survey, say if it's above 40%, I do this, and if it's below 40%, I do this.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately there's going to be some sort of champion of this idea, and they're going to look in the results and they'll find something that says, well, maybe we should just go ahead with it anyway. That's not a good way to make rigorous business decisions.
Right. I wish we could get that to the White House about the Obamacare. Had they planned, hey guys, if we only get 1,000 people signing up, maybe we ought to rethink what we're doing. But I can't help in all these remarks that I am writing a little booklet on succeeding in life with the F word, and that is flexibility, okay? And right now we've are flexible enough that we only have time for my parting thought. Thanks for being with us, Tom, and happy Thanksgiving, Network of Michigan, which is, if you really want to get anything done in life, you'll find a way. And if you don't, you'll find an excuse. And there is no excuse for not achieving your dreams and goals in America, because it's the greatest country in the whole world. Remember, a goal is just a dream with a deadline.